Welcome to Echoes of Time, a journey into the forgotten worlds and the secrets they left behind.
You know, you hear about wealthy families, powerful dynasties, but have you ever heard of one so rich they could bankroll entire wars, rescue nations from economic collapse, and literally build the modern world, all while staying almost completely out of the spotlight? It's a crazy paradox, and it's the story of the Rothschilds.
Okay, so let's just start with a number that's kind of hard to even wrap your head around. $20 trillion. That's the estimated net worth of the Rothschild family. We're talking about a fortune so massive, it makes today's biggest tech billionaires look small.
And that leads us to the big mystery, right? The central question of this whole explainer. How on earth did one family, starting from nothing, build an empire like this? And, maybe even more interesting, why have they worked so hard to keep all that wealth and power hidden from public view?
To get those answers, we've got to go back, way back to the very beginning. And this story, it doesn't start in some fancy palace. Nope. It starts in a crowded, walled-off alley where life was anything but easy.
This was the world of Meyer Amschel Rothschild, born back in 1744. He grew up in the Judengasse, or Jews' Alley, which was this cramped, segregated ghetto in Frankfurt. At one point, get this, Meyer and 30 of his relatives were all living together in a single house just 11 feet wide. It was a life defined by prejudice and harsh restrictions.
And then, tragedy hit hard. His father died of smallpox. A year later, his mother died too. Suddenly, at just 12 years old, Meyer was an orphan. He had to drop out of school and was sent off to be an apprentice at a bank. This wasn't a career choice, it was pure survival. But it was there that he learned the ins and outs of finance and, really importantly, about rare coins. So when he gets back to Frankfurt at 19, he uses this very specific knowledge of rare coins to get his foot in the door with European nobles. His expertise, and let's face it, his reliability, got him noticed by Crown Prince Wilhelm, one of the richest men in Europe. And pretty soon, Meyer wasn't just selling him coins, he was managing his entire fortune.
So that was the foundation. But Meyer's real genius, the thing that set everything in motion, was the plan he came up with next, a strategy to take his success and scale it across the entire continent using his greatest asset, his 5 sons.
The plan was just brilliant. Step 1, train all 5 of his sons to be financial masters. Step 2, send them out like generals to the most important financial cities in Europe, London, Paris, Vienna, and Naples, while one son stayed home in Frankfurt. They were essentially setting up a network of collaborating banks, an international financial system before that was even really a thing.
And this network, this gave them a massive advantage. While all the different countries were fighting and arguing, the Rothschilds could move money and, even more importantly, information across borders like they weren't even there. Their private couriers were often faster than the government's own messengers. It gave them a huge edge in a really unstable world.
And that edge was about to face its biggest and most legendary test. We're talking about the final days of the Napoleonic Wars. This one move would cement the family's fortune for generations to come. So, the scene is the Battle of Waterloo. It's Napoleon's empire versus a coalition led by the British. Now, the Rothschilds had poured a ton of money into the British war effort, so yeah, the outcome of this one battle meant pretty much everything. The London stock market was just frozen, waiting for news.
Okay, this is where things get really wild. Because of that private courier network, Nathan Rothschild in London got the news first that Napoleon had lost. Britain had won. But instead of sharing the good news, he started spreading a devastating rumor that Britain had been defeated. He even started selling his own British stocks just to make it look convincing.
The result was immediate. Pure chaos. As you can see right here, panic just ripped through the London Stock Exchange. Everyone, convinced that Britain had lost the war, started desperately selling off their government bonds. The market completely collapsed. And right in the middle of that pandemonium, while everyone else was selling in a total panic, Nathan's agents were quietly moving through the crowd, buying up all those same bonds for practically nothing. I mean, he was literally buying when there was blood in the streets. So what happened when the real news of Britain's victory finally arrived a few hours later? The market went through the roof. Nathan Rothschild's incredible gamble had paid off on a scale that is just mind-blowing. He turned a stake of about £20,000 into £50 million. That's a 2,500 times increase in one day. So with this unbelievable new fortune, the family's focus shifted.
They went from financing wars to financing the very things that would create the modern world as we know it.
Seriously, their money was the engine of the Industrial Revolution. They funded the massive railway systems that spread across Europe, they invested in the first oil wells, financed huge mining operations all over the globe, and helped build the roads and canals that tied global trade together.
Their power got so big that they were basically acting like a central bank for entire countries. I mean, when Britain needed a huge chunk of cash immediately to buy control of the Suez Canal, the Rothschilds just handed them £5, no questions asked. And when the US government itself was facing a gold crisis in 1893, who did they turn to? The Rothschilds, who supplied 100,000 kilograms of gold to stabilize the entire economy. Which brings us right back to our original question. How do you have that much wealth, that much influence, and stay so hidden? Well, the answer goes back to the strict set of rules the family's founder put in place.
Before he died, Mayer Rothschild created a will that wasn't really a personal document. It was more like a corporate charter for a dynasty. And its main goals were really simple: keep control of the business, and most importantly, keep the money strictly inside the family.
And to do that, he laid down a very controversial but very effective policy: strategic intermarriage. To stop the family fortune from getting watered down by outsiders marrying in, he instructed his descendants to marry their own first or second cousins. And they listened. As you can see here, between 1824 and 1877, 30 out of 36 Rothschild weddings were between family members. And this is the final piece of the puzzle. Over 200 years, that massive $20 trillion fortune has been deliberately split up and spread out across more than 100 different heirs. So while the family as a whole is probably the richest on the planet, no single person has enough of the fortune to even show up on the Forbes list of billionaires. It is the ultimate strategy for hiding in plain sight.
It all leaves us with this one fascinating question. The story of the Rothschilds seems to prove that, yeah, it is possible. They didn't just build an empire of wealth, they built an empire of secrecy. A dynasty that has shaped our world from the shadows, proving that maybe the greatest power of all is the power that nobody even knows you have.
This was Echoes of Time. If you love powerful history stories, subscribe and continue the journey with us.